Today we're going to install the new JSP Billet AE86 4-link set. The entire set includes 2 lower links, 2 upper links, all the hardware needed, and the grease that's required for the bushings. All 4 links are machined from 6061 T6 aluminum here in-house. The upper links feature this left and right threaded center nut, making adjusting really easy on the car. The included hardware is zinc plated and also includes nylon lucking nuts to make sure that they never come loose. The lower links feature poly bushings on both ends. This is going to improve the handling of the vehicle without adding the extra noise and vibration associated with full bearing links. The upper link features a high quality bearing on the body side of the vehicle to make adjustment of the pinion angle easy. The axle side of the upper link uses the same poly bushing as the lower links. This is going to make sure that there's less vibration and noise transferred to the car. Let's start by installing the lower links. These are CNC machined from solid billets with extensive pocketing to make sure that we have reduced as much weight as possible without sacrificing strength. The unique design offsets the bushings at the end of the links to make sure that we don't lose any clearance around the body mount of the car. Here's a comparison to the stock link so you can see what I'm talking about. If you look at this tubular arm, our billet arm has the same clearance on the top side near the body of the car. All the additional material was added to the bottom side where it's not going to interfere with the chassis. We've decided to use large diameter poly bushings that are about the same size as the factory bushing. This is going to make sure that while we're improving performance, we're not losing articulation of the arm itself as the rear end moves around. The first step before installing is greasing the bushing. To do this, we're going to have to press out the center pin of all the bushings. This can be done on a press or it can be done with some simple hand tools. If you don't have access to a press, a 3/8 extension and a larger diameter socket works pretty well. You're going to start by just hammering the pin out into the socket about 1/2 inch or so. Then you can flip the arm over and just tap it out using the table. The grease that's included with all of these kits is specifically designed to work with these prothane bushings. Install the grease from both sides. If you look inside the bushing, you'll notice there's some grooves. These grooves are what the grease is going to be seated in after the pin is reinstalled. Use your finger and spread the grease around the inside of the bushing. The better you do this, the less chance there is going to be noise coming from the bushing after the install. After the bushing is fully greased, then you can press the pin back in. This should go in pretty easily. Once the pin's pressed, the next step is to just clean up the grease that comes out from the other side, and then you're ready to install. Start by removing the factory lower link. This is held onto the body of the car with 2 M12 bolts. They have 17mm heads on both the bolt side and the nut side. Take your time installing the new link. Sometimes the spacing on the mount that's on the body or the rear end can get damaged through many years of abuse. Once the link is pressed up and you can easily get the bolt in through the hole, press the included hardware in from the inside to the outside of the body. Then you're going to install a washer and a nut to the outside. The hardware installs the same on the axle side. You're going to press the bolt with a washer in from the inside to the outside. Then you're going to put another washer and the locking nut on the outside near the wheel. If possible, torque these to 75 foot-pounds. It's important that this hardware is tight or you might hear some noise from the suspension. Repeat the process on the other side. If you've installed the arm correctly, the JSP logo should be right side up. If for some reason it's upside down, you need to reinstall the arm the other way. Now let's go over the upper links. Just like the lower arms, the upper links include all the hardware that's needed, including the grease for the bushing. They include a super high quality FK bearing 3/4 inch rod end. This rod end is left-handed threaded so that we can use the center adjusting nut to adjust the length of the arm. This billet arm is specifically designed to add additional clearance to the axle housing and the body of the car when you lower your AE86. This portion of the arm adds additional clearance to the top of the housing where a straight arm would normally be hitting. The angled rod end also adds clearance on the body side. As the car is lowered, the bushing side goes up, but because we've angled the rod end, you still have plenty of clearance on the body here where a normal link would also be hitting. Through FEA testing and computer simulation, we were able to design a link that not only has all these additional clearances, but is also extremely strong. The adjustable end has a jam nut that jams up against the arm itself. Then there's the adjuster nut and a second jam nut that holds the rod end to the adjuster nut. The larger jam nut is a right-hand thread that holds it against the arm. The smaller jam nut is a left-handed thread that holds the rod end to the adjuster nut. This allows you to adjust the length of the link just by twisting the adjuster nut by itself. If you loosen the adjuster nut, the arm gets longer. If you tighten the adjuster nut, the arm gets shorter. This assembly was designed in a way that the extension of the rod end should not be the same as the adjuster nut when you install it on the car. You should start by screwing the adjuster nut all the way into the arm and then loosen the rod end out probably 4 or 5 threads to start. This is going to make sure that you maintain lots of clearance on the body side so that you can easily get wrenches in for tightening. If you extend the arm evenly with the rod bearing and the adjuster nut, you might have clearance issues on the body side of the car when you're trying to tighten the jam nut for the rod end. So it should look something like this before you go to install. Follow the same procedure as the lower link for greasing the bushing on these upper arms before you put them on the car. Installing the upper link is very similar to the lower link. You're going to remove the stock link to start. Then you're going to slide the new link up into place on the body side. However, the hardware on the upper link installs from the outside to the inside, unlike the lower links inside to outside. You're going to start with the longer M12 hardware with a washer on it. You're going to slide it through, and then you're going to install a washer and nylon locking nut on the inside. Next, press the bushing side of the upper link into the axle housing. This can sometimes be a tight fit. Press it down and eyeball to see if you can align the hardware through the hole of the bushing. If the arm is way too short, you're going to want to extend the rod end out more first and then reinstall. If it's pretty close, then you can use the adjuster nut to make up the difference until you can install the hardware. I recommend installing this and leave the hardware loose, then move to the other side and install the other link. You'll find that adjusting the pinion angle is much easier when both links are installed. Here's a view of the upper link in place. Now you can see how the shape of this upper link allows additional clearance over the axle housing, as well as additional clearance on the body side. Once the pinion angle is set, then you can tighten down the hardware. Start with the 1.5" jam nut that tightens up against the control arm. Snug it up. Second, align the rod end so that it sits straight in the body of the car. If it's not straight, it could possibly be binding as the axle moves up and down. Lastly, hold the 1.25" adjuster nut in place, and then remembering that it's a left-handed thread, tighten the 1" nut that holds the rod end to the adjuster nut. After you're completed, go for a test drive. You're going to want to listen to the rear end of the car for any unusual noises. Assuming that the test drive goes smoothly, there's nothing that you need to do. But if you do hear something that doesn't sound normal, get the car back up in the air and just double check everything one last time. Thanks for watching, and if you have any questions during the install of your 4-link, please feel free to reach out to us and we're more than happy to help.